talking about faith this month, right? We're talking about faith. We've got Reagan and Chad with us today. How was your week?
Good.
Remember when we used to play like one exciting thing and we'd be like, hey, what's one exciting thing you did this week? Anything exciting?
We went to Pinecrest.
We went to the lake.
I have done the whole lake.
Chad and a couple of his brothers and a sister, except not this sister, hiked around the lake. And what else have we been doing? Reagan's been doing a lot of fingernail painting. Chad's been doing a lot of
Stuff.
Fortnite playing. We're going camping next week, so we won't see you online next week. Mr. Mike will be here. So we're in our garage today, and we're gonna just we're gonna play a game. And I have not told them what this game is. I've got some supplies here.
All she said is A, B, C.
Oh yeah, I did ask them if they could write the letters A, the letter B, and the letter
C.
Chad said yes, so he's good to play. Okay, so our word this month is faith, and faith is trusting in what we can't see because of what we can see. So we're talking about trusting in what we can't see based on what we can. So, right, we know who Jesus is, even though we can't see him. We can trust God even though we can't see him. So, we've been talking about this guy named Saul in the New Testament, the book of Acts. True story from the book of Acts. So Saul was a religious leader. Just to kind of recap, last week Mr. Mike and all of our his action figures told a story about how Saul met Jesus on the road to Damascus. And so Saul was, just to remind ourselves, Saul was a really, really religious leader, except he didn't believe in Jesus. He didn't believe that Jesus was who he said he was, or that he rose again, died and rose again. And so Saul met Jesus and realized, hey, that was true. That Jesus actually was who he said he was. So we're going to set up our game here today.
I want orange.
Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna give Reagan and Chad a marker and a whiteboard. Okay,
This one.
and here's how. No, I think it doesn't matter. But you want it on this side. You want the blank side.
What?
Okay. So again, the rules of this game go. You're going to be writing letters to answers that you think, like, is the answer A, is the answer B, or is the answer C? Okay? And then actually what we're going to see on the screen when we show this, when the kids see it online, is our faces are going to be covered up because they're going to be looking at the questions. So I'm going to read you the questions.
That's my A.
You're going to have to be really dark, okay? So let's do a little review. So we're going to read and play a game today. Okay, so we talked about how Saul was a religious leader, but he was not a fan of Jesus and his followers. In fact, he was so not a fan of who Jesus was that he actually went to the leaders and the authorities and got letters to arrest Christians, people who followed Jesus. He went and said, hey, I'm going to get official papers that says that I can arrest you. If you follow Jesus, I'm going to arrest you because I don't believe in Jesus and I feel really, really strongly about it. So Saul went around arresting people who follow Jesus, except when Jesus met him, and that's what Mr. Mike talked about last week. So
pick up from there.
Picking up from there. Remember, so it ended last week with the friends that Saul was traveling with. They led him into the town and told him that he was supposed to go to a certain man's house and stay. And remember, one of the amazing parts of this story is Saul can't see. God blinded him on the road, so he can't see right now. He's blind, and so they just held his hand and went. Okay, so there was a believer in the town of Damascus where Paul went, whose name was Ananias. And God called Ananias in a vision. He talked to Ananias in a vision. And in the book of Acts, chapter 9, it says this: go to the house of Judas on Straight Street. Ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying. In a vision, Saul has seen a man come and place his hands on him. That man's name is Ananias. In the vision, Ananias placed his hands on Saul so he could see again. So God is telling Ananias, hey, go find Saul at Judas's house on Straight Street, not the Judas that betrayed Jesus. Okay, there's more than one Judas in the Bible. Go put your hands on Saul and heal him. That's what Ananias, or that's what God told Ananias to do. Okay, so let's back up here for a second. What was Saul doing?
He gave him a star.
Hold on. What was Saul doing to Christians?
Killing. Putting them in jail.
Either one, right? Both. He would arrest them. He didn't mind if they died. And so Ananias hears from God and says, hey, go find Saul. Would this be and I don't know, would you do that?
No.
Some scary man that you knew was anti everything that you believed?
Nope.
Ananias was a Christian. Ananias loved Jesus and believed in Jesus. Would you do that?
Nope.
So Ananias has got some fear.
Yeah, I would definitely.
I don't. So he wants to wonder if Ananias was afraid. So here's how he responds. He says, "Look," Ananias said, "I've actually heard many reports about this man. They say he has done great things," so he's talking to God, "to harm your people in Jerusalem. Now he has come here to arrest all those who worship you. The chief priests have given him the authority to do this." Ananias was not so sure about this idea, but God went on to explain what his plans for Saul were. So keep going in the book of Acts. It says, "The Lord said to Ananias, 'Go, I have chosen this man to work for me. He will announce my name to the Gentiles and to their kings. He will also announce my name to the people of Israel.'" Okay, so this brings us, are you ready? This brings us to our first question. So you guys are going to see on the screen here, it's actually going to cover up us for just a second. So you're going to be seeing right now, you're looking at the first slide, and the question says this: did Ananias, A, tell God his vision was wrong, B, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street, or C, go to the house of Judas on Crooked Street? So go ahead and write A, B, or C. Did Ananias tell God his vision was wrong? A, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street. B, or go to the house of Judas on Crooked Street. Okay, let's see how you voted. Okay, so now you're going to see us again. They both answered B. Let's look at the next slide. You're going to see the next slide. The answer will be in yellow. So we're going to put up the next slide. Dun, dun, dun. B. You got it right. Good job. Okay?
Okay, good.
All right, next question. Let's keep going. Okay. Ananias obeyed God, and he went to find Saul at Judas's house on Straight Street. Even though God had told Ananias how he planned to use Saul and to share his love with others, Ananias must have been afraid. But he did what God said, and he went to the house and found Saul. So Saul hadn't been eating. Do you remember last week in the story with Mike and the action figures, and they offered Saul something to drink, and they offered him something to eat, and Saul said, "No, I don't do that." So he hasn't been eating anything for 3 days, and he still couldn't see. Ananias placed his hands on Saul and told him why he had come. Acts chapter 9, verse 17 says, "Brother Saul," Ananias said, "you saw the Lord Jesus. He appeared to you on the road as you were coming here. He has sent me so that you will be able to see again. You will be filled with the Holy Spirit." So, what happened next? That's our game, by the way. Our game is called What Happened Next. Okay, what happened next? So you're going to see, guys at home, you're going to see on the screen, here it comes, you're going to see A, did Saul, okay, so did Saul, A, get mad at Ananias, take a nap, or, okay, so A, get mad at Ananias, B, take a nap, or C, get his sight back? Did Saul, A, get mad at Ananias, C, or B, take a nap, or C, get his sight back? Okay, we're ready for flip your papers. Now you can see us again. Flip your papers. What'd you say?
C.
C? All right, let's see if we're right. Let's see if we're right. Here comes the screen. Remember the yellow answer is the answer is in yellow. That's correct. So you'll see it right here on the slide. Woo! C is the correct answer. Good job. Okay. All right. So as soon as Ananias places his hands on Saul, the Bible tells us that something like scales dropped off of Saul's eyes and he could see again. He got up and was baptized. Before Saul met Jesus on the road to Damascus, he had done everything he could to wipe out Jesus' followers. I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to put you in prison. I don't want you speaking. I've got letters from the authorities. He was doing everything that he could to get rid of them. But now that he had met Jesus, Saul was equally determined to share the good news. Within days of meeting Jesus and being blinded and then healed, he began preaching about Jesus in the Jewish synagogues. He taught that Jesus really was the Son of God. Everyone who heard Saul speak was amazed. Listen to the questions they asked, okay? So remember, they knew who he was. This is the guy that arrests Christians, that puts Jesus' followers in jail. He doesn't like us at all. So here's what they say. Isn't this the man who caused trouble in Jerusalem? Didn't he make trouble for those who worship Jesus? Hasn't he come here to take them as prisoners to the chief priests? Day by day, Saul continued to share the message of Jesus with more and more people. Many of them began to believe, but there were also many, including the governor of Damascus, who were upset by Paul's mission. They made plans to kill and capture, to capture Saul and then kill him. But Saul's friends made a plan to help him escape. Okay, you know what's coming?
God.
What
happened?
What happened next? Okay, so no, go ahead and erase your boards because you're ready for the next ABC thing. Okay, so Saul is telling people about Jesus, but the governor of Damascus doesn't like this, so he makes his own plans to actually arrest Saul and put him in jail. So, did Saul's followers help him escape A, on a camel, B, in a spaceship, or C, in a basket? Did Saul's friends help him escape A, on a camel, B, on a spaceship, or C, in a basket? Okay, this one is a little tricky because we actually didn't read how. It just said that Saul's friends made a plan to help him escape. Okay, so you can see us again here. And, Chad, you got your answer? Feet down?
No, I don't have my answer.
Is it a spaceship? I'll give you a hint. It's not, spaceship's not the right answer. So you're either going A or C, camel or basket.
I mean...
Flip it around, we gotta see. We want to know the answer.
Fine. Correct them on those.
A was camel. So here, let's see it. We're going to put up the answer. And the answer is C, in a basket. That's totally okay because we didn't say what it was, okay? The answer...
I thought it was too big for it.
In a basket. Okay, Saul's friends helped him escape at night by lowering him in a basket in an opening on the city wall. So Damascus was a city that had a wall kind of like Jericho that went all the way around it. You could lower a camel, that's true, right? Maybe, I don't know, you could. But they put him in a basket, which has to be a pretty big basket. Okay, we have one more. What happened next? Okay, so let's keep going. After Saul escaped Damascus, he ended up in Jerusalem. He tried to join the believers there, but what?
Then said, hey, you got kicked out.
No, yeah, they were afraid of Saul. They did not want Saul to be a part of what they were doing because they remembered Saul as being against what they were doing. So he goes to Jerusalem and he tries to join the believers, but they don't want Saul to be a part. But one man named Barnabas had already heard Saul's story. Barnabas took Saul to visit Peter, James, and the other leaders of the early church, and he told them the whole story. He explained how Jesus had appeared to Saul on the road, and how afterwards Saul had been telling people in Damascus about Jesus. So, this brings us to our final question. Dun, dun, dun. What happened next? Okay? So you guys at home are going to see the screen, and it goes like this. What happened next? Did the believers, A, welcome Saul to stay with them, kick him out, or run away screaming? A, B, or C? A, welcome Saul.
What was them again?
A is welcome Saul. The kids at home are looking at this on the screen, and you guys are just writing your answers. A, welcome Saul. B, kick him out. Or C, run away screaming. And remember, they were afraid at first, but then one of the leaders named Barnabas says, hey, I'm going to tell you Saul's story. Okay, So we're back now. Are you guys ready? Show us your answers. A, B, or C.
I picked A.
All right. We're gonna put up the next. B was kick him out. A was welcome Saul.
They did neither. Because neither did they kick him
Okay, so
out.
here's the slide. Yellow is the answer, and the answer, guys, is A.
Let's go! Sorry, Sissy. Only one of them welcomed it.
True. Thanks to what was his name? Thanks to Barnabas, the believers could see that Saul was telling the truth. So Saul was able to stay with them. There in Jerusalem, so then from there, Saul just begins to boldly preach about Jesus and to tell people about Jesus. And again, just like in Damascus, the religious leaders in Jerusalem, the ones that Paul used to be working for, they were not happy. And so Saul actually leaves Jerusalem and he goes back to his hometown. Remember where Saul was originally from?
Damascus.
Tarsus. Tarsus. He goes back to Tarsus to wait for what God has for him to do. So even though it was super dangerous for Saul and the other believer, even though they were afraid, they continued to tell others about Jesus. So bottom line, here's our brain drawer. Open up your brain drawers. You can actually show the guys that, okay, ready? Open up your brain drawers, okay? Knowing Jesus, we can have courage because knowing Jesus can help us to face our fears. Knowing Jesus helps us to face our fears. What's our brain drawer information?
Brain drawer!
Knowing Jesus helps us face our fears. Okay? So Ananias, remember back the guy at the beginning of our story? Ananias was afraid to go see Saul. He's like, Lord, wait, what? No, this guy's bad. I don't want to go see him. And then when Paul showed up in Jerusalem, the believers were like, no, we don't. No, this guy's bad. So knowing Jesus, because the believers knew and trusted in Jesus, they had faith, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you talking about Paul or Saul? Because you said Paul right there.
Well, remember, Saul's name gets changed to Saul. Do you remember that? So I swap back and forth.
You got Saul.
Okay? Before Paul met Jesus, his name was Saul, and then God changed his name to
Paul.
Okay, so we've lost Chad, but Reagan is going to help us. We're going to review our verse before we wrap up here. Okay? So Hebrew, what's our word this month?
Faith. Faith.
Faith. Okay. Faith. So let's say Hebrews
11.
Hebrews 11:1. Okay? Go.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Faith is to be. Wait, no. Faith is to be
sure. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we cannot see. Hebrews
11:1.
One more time.
Faith
is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we cannot see. Hebrews
11:1.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for being a part of our story this week. Talking about who?
Saul
and talking about Ananias and the believers who had faith, that we can have faith and what we can't see, we can trust what we can't see because of what we can see. What's our bottom line today? Brain drawer
Faith.
is we can have courage to face our fears. Having faith, knowing Jesus can help us face our fears. And with that, we'll say goodbye.